They are preparing. Let's look. Setting up the live on YouTube. Yeah, preparing. Oh, wait. Let's look. Setting. Okay. Hey, everybody. Okay. So we are live on YouTube. I'm going back to Zoom here and making sure that I have my screens up. But yes, thank you, Rhonda. We're talking about the 5 keys to mindful loving. Welcome to Dr. Alicia's book club, How to Be an Adult in Relationships. We need to learn this thing. The 5 keys of mindful loving, those 5 keys are, Rhonda put it in the chat: attention, acceptance, appreciation, affection, and allowing. You have to be open to give all of those things in a relationship and also be open to receive them. And that is what makes healthy adult relationships. This is how we break generational curses. Just following this, it's very simple to do. Undivided attention, um, acceptance of your partner, appreciating your partner, showing active appreciation for any and everything your partner does, showing physical touch, affection in touch, but also in words, and also allowing your partner to be who and what they are. And I think that is so important. And so we're going to get into it because today we're talking about how to deal with disappointments. So I don't know. So everybody in YouTube, I just want to say welcome to the book club. If you want to join me on Zoom, to get a special invitation to join me on Zoom, you need to text LOVE, LOVE to 87948. And that's how you'll be on the text message. And then I'll shout you out in the chat. And then I will answer your questions if you have. So you have to join the private Zoom. You're just here for the YouTube portion. So that is going to be what we're going to do going forward. And so I just want to welcome everybody. This book is David Rico. David Rico is the author of this book. Hey, Jolene, how you doing? My husband's calling me and I just told him I'm going live. So maybe he'll he may join me. I don't know. So anyway, this is what we're going to get started on. We have gone through chapters 1 through 5, and now we're making our way through chapter 6. Chapter 6 are all about fears that rush in, dangers too. We've talked about engulfment and abandonment. We've talked about what being afraid in relationships. We've talked about jealousy and infidelity. Y'all want to get this. Jealousy and infidelity. That is what we talked about and last week, and I think it was powerful. It probably wasn't what you guys expected it to be, but that's how it was. Anybody who wants to reach out to me and work with me, my assistant will get back to you, and you can schedule a private, confidential Zoom session with me, and I could just listen to you for a good half hour and try to see where your struggles are with attention, acceptance, appreciation, affection, and allowing with yourself and with other people. And so I'm here to help. So, okay, so let's get started. Oh gosh, we are starting here on page 180. And of course, I got the paper copy because I got to look at the paper copy. I really need to get the Kindle version so I could blow the words up a little bit. It's kind of hard to see the words, but I'm so used to paper. And I like to write in the margins. I like to read ahead and just put little words in here so I can remember to talk about things. And I'm just not that comfortable doing it digitally. Okay, so here we go. On page 180 of chapter 6. It's talking about how to deal with disappointment. How to be Sean wants a playback for jealousy. I'll talk about that next week. I do have I have the playback, and it's a private playback. So I will talk to you next week about how I can make that available to you. because all of it is pretty interesting. So thank you, Sean, for asking that question. I also wanted to talk to you guys also about my healing haven. I'm opening up another, I'm kind of winding down on my third cycle of healing haven, and I'm thinking about opening it back up just for a couple of students that wants to join my healing haven group, but I'll talk about that. I'll talk about that next week, everybody. I'm not quite ready to talk about it now because I'm still working with some students that I'll be working with next week on how to work on yourself. And that's the whole point of this. So, okay, with that, we're going to talk about disappointments because there's no such thing as the perfect relationship. There is no such thing as the perfect anything. There's no perfect childhood. There's no perfect situation to be in. There's no perfect job. There's ups and downs, and there's going to be disappointments. This is what we signed up for when we're born. We all signed up for some sort of disappointments, and it's a journey and it's a way for you to learn. So off the top of my head, those are my thoughts about disappointments. But let's see what David Rico has to say about disappointments. Okay. Expectations. Expectations can add a lively energy to our enterprises and relationships. A lively. Oh, we all got expectations when it comes to relationships, right? Should you not have expectations? What happens then? They can help us find our leading edge rather than letting us be satisfied with the mediocre. So there's some thoughts that what happens if you exceed expectations? Expectations, right? It could be, can we be satisfied with just anything, any and everything in a relationship? Does that make even that makes sense? Psychological health does not mean having no expectations. It means not being possessed by them. This makes room for lively expectancy. Such expectancy is followed by agreements that fulfill it or acceptance of disappointment as a legitimate condition. Disappointments happens. Such expectancy is followed by disagreements that fulfill it or acceptance of disappointment as a legitimate condition of existence, to be greeted without protest or blame. Greeted without protest, and don't be pointing the finger and blaming people, right? The alternative is ego entitled with this brazen mindsets of wish and demand. How are you guys with disappointments? Let me know if you feel disappointed by something or if your partner disappoints you. You was expecting your partner to do something and they let you down. How do you guys deal with that? I think that, or is it even, do you think that you should have expectations for your partner? Do you think that there's some people who think that there should be no expectations at all because as soon as you expect something out of somebody, you're guaranteed to be hurt by them. That's a way of thinking. So Karen, you just write, it's written all over your face. That's a good thing. How dare you? Clutching your pearls. How dare you disappoint me? Yeah, Karen. Karen lets her partner know. You get mad. Jolene gets mad. Okay. That reminds me of the song Jolene. Anyway, yeah, so Jolene gets upset. I think, what do I think about this expectations? I like expectations actually. Don't sing the song. I'm not even gonna sing it. I just know about the song. I don't know. My expectations, how I feel about expectations is that I think it's motivating. Having expectations can motivate us, it can inspire us. I think it's a good thing. I think that if you're disappointed, it's a wonderful way to explore the disappointment and have a conversation with someone. The beautiful thing about, your partner is to have conversations about anything that disappoints you, anything that bothers you. If you're in a healthy relationship, you should be able to bring that to your partner. So, and I think it is wonderful. It can push us to strive for excellence. And it can also push personal growth, relational growth. So I love discord. I like having discord because it's healthy, as long as it's healthy. Um, I don't know. I think you should view disappointments not as failure. So, I mean, it's okay to recognize the fact that you feel angry. You could say, I'm feeling angry. That doesn't mean you have to demonstrate anger and lash out. And it doesn't mean that you have to yell or you have to show rage, but it really does mean that you can just talk about what's coming up for you because that's how you grow in relationships. Um, and the important thing with good relationships is that you need to be flexible. If you have this rigid stance where you're protesting against unmet expectations, you're going to protest and be angry. That's not the best approach. Maybe it's a sign that you need to learn how to be flexible, how to accept someone, and maybe you need to start to be curious. So this process enables all of us to engage with life's uncertainties. And sometimes it can foster this inner peace when you're able to say, oh, maybe I didn't make my expectations clear. Maybe this is a topic of conversation. So it is, I think what David Rico is saying, that dealing with disappointment, just know that it will happen and know that sometimes it could be positive depending on how you use it. Okay. Our inner life is complex and multifaceted, like a vast and varied landscape, requiring diverse experiences to cultivate it. At times, we are challenged to walk and run, at other times, to stay and sit. Disappointment is is as crucial to our inner life as reliability. Ooh, disappointment is as crucial to our inner life as reliability. Reliability means consistency. I'm teaching research. I'm teaching research at my institution this semester, and all the students right now are collecting data. If you follow me on Facebook, you'll see I put a lot of posts up on my Facebook page. Students are collecting data and we're talking about our measures. So I have a degree in parametrics, which is all about measurement. So I'm an expert in measurement statistics. I'm proud to say that I suffered through those courses to get that expertise. And so we're looking at measures, and I'm trying to explain to the class and to students that I meet with individually to analyze their data about reliability. Reliability is so important in relationships. You have to be consistent. You know, and that's what this measure, we pick a measure of let's say anxiety. So a lot of students are measuring anxiety with the population. So they're measuring anxiety, and so we look at the reliability of the measure. How reliable is it to this particular population? And if you don't have reliability, guess what? You have no study. You have to throw, if you don't have reliability, you can't even use that concept in your study. You have to throw the variable out. And it's like that with relationships in a lot of different ways. Like if you don't have reliable, you can't learn to trust and have the consistency. Thank you, Jolene. If you don't have that degree of consistency with your partner and they don't consistently show up for you, then you got to throw it out. You got to figure out what's wrong. And so there was a student I met with the other day, and her reliability, alpha reliability, Cronbach's alpha of reliability was unacceptable. Her alpha was too low. And I was like, oh, child, we're gonna have to throw the variable out. But I did a detailed analysis of that variable and the items in the measure. And I said, hey, I've pinpoint the problem. The problem is number 11 and number 15. I'll never forget it. I met with her just yesterday. Um, cool little student. I met with her yesterday and I said, uh-oh, I did an analysis of each item. And I said, number 11 and number 15, we're going to have to get rid of those items so that we could reduce our scale from a 15 item scale down to a 13 item scale. And we did that. And guess what? The reliability increased. And I think that that's how we need to look at our relationships. Sometimes you're going to be disappointed. And sometimes it's not like the entire scale is terrible. You have to throw the whole scale out. You analyze it. You stop. You don't have a catastrophe. You don't get, it's okay to feel angry, but you don't be like, how dare you not be reliable? How dare you disappoint me? But it's a moment in your relationship to, yes, Jolene, figure out what needs fixing. You do an item analysis, which is what I did. And I said, uh-oh, this is a negative correlation to the rest of the scale. Let's throw those items out. We threw out number 11 and number 15. She was looking, poor child, was looking all depressed, like her study was going to be disastrous. She looked terrible. And I said, no, 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 we can fix this. So when we fixed this, we dug into it and we reran the reliability, Cronbach's alpha reliability. And guess what? It was like 0.8 something, which is acceptable, which is really good reliability. That's what you can do with your relationships. When you have disappointments, you could look at that and say, what little pieces of our relationship do we need to fix? Because I love you and all of these other things are wonderful about our relationships, our relationship, but this disappointment, it was unacceptable. How can we remain consistent? That's what I think. And I think in life, one thing my dad used to tell me is that in life, Alicia, you're gonna win some and you're gonna lose some. He used to tell me that all the time because I would call him and be like, "Hey, Dad, I'm so excited! I would win something, or I would, do well on a test or do something." He said, "That's wonderful. I think that's great. I knew you could do it." And he's like, "Just remember, you will lose in life sometimes. You will be like, you win some and you lose some." And what he was telling me is that everything don't have to go my way. Everything does not have to go my way. And I understand everything does not have to. And when it doesn't, I can reflect on it and look back on it and try to figure out what went wrong. But anyway, I made that point long enough. So let's move on. Where did I end up? Okay. Disappointment is as crucial to our inner life as reliability, the same way that cold is as necessary to the life as lilac bush as is the sun. So a lilac bush needs to have the cold, but it also needs to have the sun shining on them. When Buddha taught that the first noble truth is the unsatisfactories of life, Buddha taught this. First noble truth is that life ain't gonna be good all the time. He was not being a doomsdayer, but pointed to a necessary ingredient of our common humanity. Could being beings like us could never stay in bloom in a tropical world of uninterrupted satisfactions. Oh my gosh, if life was nothing but everything is satisfying. uh, where's the growth in that? Where's the learning in that? We need all seasons for a fully realized human experience. All four seasons. You need to have fall where things get dark and the leaves go yellow and they die out. How beautiful is that? The death process of the leaves of a tree is the most beautiful time of the year. It's dying out. It's a necessary process because it will grow back. Usually, like I'm looking out my bushes in the front, they need to be cut a little, in a while, because I know that my bushes are going to grow even more. It's going to be bigger. So I'll have I'll have my yard people come and clear away everything because it grows after winter. Y'all get what I'm saying. And springtime is when things bud and summertime is hot, you know. So this is a necessary cycles. Everything in your life is a cycle. Relationships are a cycle. You always go through cycles in a relationship. But I won't elaborate that point, but just know that all relationships have cycles. Um, okay, moving on. Okay, we need all seasons for a fully realized human experience. Only in a world with shadows can our inner life flourish. Only in a world with shadows can our inner life flourish. The challenge is ruthless, fealty in the season of life and change. This includes losses, abandonments, and endings, chosen or imposed. Endings. Endings can be chosen. That means you could choose to end, or it can be imposed on you. Someone could say, bye bye, I'm done. It could be either way. Hmm. While receiving the 5 A's is gratifying. We talked about that. Falling in love or falling up in love or rising in love. I think that's what we need to call it. Rising in love. That's gratifying. However, disappointments may be the fastest chariot to enlightenment, as the Tibetan saying goes. Woo! Disappointment is the fastest chariot of enlightenment. Hmm. So how do you guys feel when you're faced with unmet expectations in a relationship? Rising in love. Yes, Rhonda. Um, how do you all feel when you're faced? You have misunderstandings in relationships. Happens. Sometimes you're brought face to face with your deepest vulnerabilities, and you can point out patterns in behavior. I mean, all of these things. It's very difficult. Um, Sometimes it's difficult to change overnight. If you have a habit of certain behavior that you really need to fix, you're not going to do it overnight. So you need to learn patience. You need to have adjustment. A lot of newly married couples, they come see me. A lot of times I work with newly married couples because there's an adjustment process. And I'm constantly talking to a lot of couples over the years about just accepting each other. You got to sometimes accept each other's uh, idiosyncrasies, and then at the same time be flexible. So you need to learn how to manage. Would you say, Patricia Jackson, it saddens me, especially when he doesn't want to talk through it. Yeah, find out what's going on, Patricia. Ask him, I don't really want to talk about these things. I don't want any resentment building up in our relationship, so I really want to talk about it. Um, when's a good time to talk? And sometimes men don't want to talk about it. And so you could talk about not talking about it. What's going on that you don't want to talk about it? So because this reflection piece, some men are closed. Yeah, it is tough for them. We've talked about that in previous videos about, if you didn't grow up in an environment where you were encouraged to talk about your feelings, and you get into a relationship with somebody, you're not going to automatically just be able to just spit it all out. Sometimes you need to learn patience, to help people to talk about it. Sometimes you will be disappointed, but you have to be willing to explore. So, some students, I mean, some, people I work with, I help them try to come to terms with how they're feeling. How are you feeling? What do you're not quite sure. Okay, well, let's talk about that. So it takes a lot of patience. You need to explore. All relationships are dynamic. And at that point, you really do need to approach it with empathy, authenticity, clarity. Those are things that you need to try to achieve. And at the other end of this, you and your husband will be more connected, more enlightenment, more love and human connected will happen if you could try to create an atmosphere where these men can open up and talk. So, talking about your feelings is so important. It's necessary. And not only is it necessary for your mental health, but it's also necessary for your physical health. If you bottle up how you're feeling, it manifest itself in physical health problems, and that's a fact. So it's always helpful to get it out. Uh, Oh, the relationship was in my 11-year marriage, which ended. Okay, well, then you know what, Patricia? Let me tell you something. If that marriage ended, hopefully, let's wish him well. Let's send whoever this man is, send him positive thoughts, and hopefully he'll get it right the next time. Because if you don't get it right the first time, you get it right. You free. Of course, you free because you're more developed. This is what adults do. Children act out how they feel. And as parents, we teach them that. But to be an adult in relationships, now you need help. Sometimes you need help forming words because I can't read your mind. I don't know what you're thinking. If you don't tell me, how am I supposed to know? Now, I am working on being clairvoyant. I've read books about being psychic or whatever. I don't know if it's actually worked, but it's interesting to read. Very interesting books to read out there. But I don't know. I'm working on it, but outside of that sort of thing, I can't read your mind. Yeah, can't read your mind. And why would you marry somebody that you can't be open with? Like Rhonda was talking about, you have to be vulnerable, a place where you can be vulnerable and transparent. What kind of relationship is that? Huh? Okay, reading on. According to a Tibetan saying, the fastest chariot to enlightenment, it's a chariot, it's a process. Is disappointment. Oh, okay. So many frayed strands of disappointment, some hardly noticeable, dangle from our hearts in the complex tapestry of a lifetime. We may experience a great and crushing disappointment about our partner and our relationship at one time or another, or many little ones along the way. Big disappointments, little small disappointments. But disappointment is a kind of loss. So you got to grieve it. You got to grieve your hopes and dreams for a great relationship. This weekend, I watched this show called Love is Blind on Netflix. I don't know. I was passing time with my daughter and we were watching Love is Blind. And it's funny, they don't see each other, but they fall in love with each other. And and I was just like, how are these? Yeah, you can fall in love with somebody, but it's like, how are these people going to respond to the inevitable disappointment that's going to happen, the inevitable conflict? And I'm thinking, as soon as conflict happens, how are they going to respond to that? What's going to happen? And we get to see it because I'm almost done with the series, but I don't know. It's season 8. I was watching season 8. Anyway, okay. Who they get disappointed? Disappointment is a kind of loss. And it's funny because Love is Blind, it's all of these projections. Oh my gosh. They they project this ideal relationship onto this person. Not reality at all. And then they're gonna get disappointed. They're going to be disappointed. It's embedded in a relationship. I wish more people would be realistic of that, very realistic about relationships. So disappointment is a kind of loss. How do you guys deal with loss? The loss of what we had hoped something was or could be. At the bottom is the loss of an illusion to which we are clinging or on which we relied. The only thing that can be lost, after all, is illusion, disillusionment, disappointment. Disappointment in relationships shatters your illusions. You have these expectations, like you see in uh, Love is Blind. They had these big invitations. They get on one knee and they're saying, "Would you marry me?" And how can you say you want to marry somebody and you've never experienced a conflict with them? It's setting these people up to fail. I'm like, why don't they have professionals on this show to like explain to people how relationships operate? It just boggles my mind. Just one person educating. If one person were to educate the couples on normal relationships, yes, you can fall in love with somebody. You don't have to see them and get true love. But if somebody could step in and say, you can't get married until you both experience a disappointment in the relationship. How are you supposed to know if that's the person you're married? You're getting people to fall in, to rise in love with an inevitable fall. It's inevitable. And they're sitting there justifying this relationship to their family on television everywhere. And people are looking at them like you're disillusioned. They are. They're in this fantasy when real relationships have to be tested. True love needs to be tested. And if it's not tested, that's not a good situation to get married, I guess, unless it's arranged marriage. That's a whole different thing. I don't want to even like comment on that type of culture, but I don't know. Don't marry somebody unless you have experienced a conflict with them, because that's when another side of them comes out. So you got to see how they deal with the inevitable disappointment. Yes, someone putting you up on a pedestal, but that's a sign that you're going to be disappointed, and you have to be able to recognize what is truly lost in these moments is not the relationship. The relationship is not lost when you experience disappointment. What is lost is the illusion, the false belief, and your attachment to the false belief about relationships. That's what's shattered. And you need to wake up and grow up and know, yes, sometimes this awakening can be painful, but it's a signal for you to confront reality. And disappointment, if you leave it unchecked, it can spiral into despair. You have to understand that it's not one person that can meet or fulfill all of your desires and expectations. That's unrealistic. You will be disappointed in relationship. But despair and grief does not need to be the end of the story. No one person can please or fulfill all of your expectations all of the time. That doesn't mean don't get into a relationship, because there's some people who are scared to get in a relationship because they can't grapple with the loss and the grief of this idealized relationship that no one could ever meet. But there's a human, you have to believe in humanity. That's what David Rico is saying. You have to have this belief in humanity that everybody is capable of giving and receiving love. But you need to release this illusion and foster compassion. That's how you make room for a relationship to be built on authenticity. You don't want no fake spouse who's going to smile in your face and be fake and phony with you. You want an authentic relationship, one where both of you can understand each other better and there's mutual growth. That's when relationships get real. How's everybody doing in YouTube? I'm saying hello. I can't see you guys, but I'm saying hi to YouTube. YouTube. Text the word LOVE to 87948, and then you can join me in the chat, because I'm looking at the chat over here, and you get your questions answered if you put some questions in the Q&A. Is the Q&A on? Yeah, the Q&A is on. And uh yeah, so we are reading How to Be an Adult in Relationships. It's the 5 Keys to Mindful Loving, and it's by David Rico. He's been a therapist. I met with him and talked to him. He's been a therapist like over 50 years. He's been a therapist. And he knows, we all know, he knows better. So we're reading from chapter 6 on page 181. Chapter 6 is a banger, y'all. Chapter 6 is about fears and dangers. Oh, lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. That's what lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Woo. Anyway, they make reference to the Wizard of Oz. And so let's go on to that. Disappointments, wait, did I now talk? Yeah, disappointments can lead to despair, the illusion that there is no alternative. But to experience disappointment consciously is to embrace it, learn from it, and go on loving. Don't let it get the best of you. To accept that all humans are a combination of contradictions. Anyone can please and displease, come through and fail, satisfy and disappoint. No one pleases all the time, yet we do not give up on believing in everyone's capacity for love. Projections about another person's perfection or trustworthiness collapse as we grow up and arrive at realism. You have a choice. You can either grow up and understand and accept the shattered illusion, or you can stay a child because children love make believe. But adults also like make believes, but they know better. When it comes to a relationship, they ain't trying to be toxic. Yes, children know. Lions and tigers and bears. Are you gonna go to the Emerald City? So let's move on with Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. When Dorothy saw the Wizard of Oz was a bungling, though well-meaning old man, Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, she was disappointed. She felt a deep disappointment. But that was the turning point in her journey of learning to trust herself. Stop looking outside of somebody to fix you. You have to look inside yourself. She has to learn how to grow up. The little dog that pulled the curtain back showed her that the only dependable wizardry would be her own, not someone else's. It is usually the instinctive animal part of us that makes the discovery. The animal part, that is what the dog represented. I got my thing with the Wizard of Oz. Uh, well, first of all, the the dog represents the animal part of you, but so does the lion, because the lion represents the animal part of you. The tornado. That's interesting. So in the Wizard of Oz, the tornado represents what? Two snakes being in love. If you look at have you ever seen that symbol? It's like medical. Have you ever seen like the symbol of a physician and it's those two snakes going around? That's kind of like a tornado. And that tornado represents the two snakes falling in love with each other. That's what happens. The caduceus. Thank you, Steve and Jamila. I don't know, my English is not my first language. Well, it is my first language, but I don't know it. The caduceus that goes around. That's a tornado twirling around. That is what happens when two people get all wrapped up into each other. It's like a tornado. It's a tornado. You get wrapped up into love. You you don't fall in love, you rise in love. And isn't that what tornadoes do? It it moves around and it wraps around two people in love. And she lands, boom, the house lands on the Wicked Witch of the East, I think. To Munchkin Land. Oh my God, I just realized this. Munchkin Land. Munchkin Land are little tiny people. They're little people. And that's what happens when we need to grow. Munchkin Land represents what happens to you when you don't grow, when you stay childish. And she's got to go through a journey. She starts in Munchkin Land, which all of us do when we are in a relationship and we're whirling through the tornado and we boom and we land. You have a choice to act like a child, or you can follow the yellow brick road to ah to the Emerald City. The Emerald City, the illusion. Thank you. The Emerald City is the heart chakra. That's green. That's when you learn to grow up. You have to evolve. She has to take the necessary steps, led by her dog, Toto. Munchkin Land represents the small part of you. And the yellow brick road is probably your solar plexus. And she gets these red shoes, and that's the root chakra. It's a chakra story. But think about it. Along the way, how does Dorothy grow from Munchkin Land, from being a little girl? Because remember, you got to remember this about Dorothy. Dorothy was coming face to face with her own issues that need to be fixed. Dorothy was stuck in Kansas. She was not willing to grow. Remember, even the Wiz, the Wiz, she didn't go south of 125th Street or something like that. She only was stuck. She was stuck. In the Wiz, she was stuck, and I think the Wizard of Oz, she's in Kansas. She's not going anywhere. She's not willing to grow. Stuck in Harlem, yes. And then you fall in love and you you rise and boom, you have to make the choice. She could have stayed in Munchkin Land. She could have stayed a child, but no, she took the yellow brick road, the solar plexus to grow. That's the lower chakras. And who does she run into along the way? She runs into the scarecrow. She's got to get a brain. You got to learn how to think. She runs into who else? The Tin Man. The Tin Man is looking for a heart. He needs a heart. He's not looking for a heart. The Tin Man needs a heart. The scarecrow needs the brain. That's her representing, it's not even her, it's all of us. And what does the lion need? The lion is scared. A lion who's supposed to be king of the jungle. The lion needs courage. Those are the things that you need to be in a healthy relationship. Those are the things you need to go from the Munchkin all the way through Emerald City and back home again. Trials and tribulations. And it's funny because when she was given the ruby slippers by oh Lord, the Wicked Witch of the North, I think it was the North, the Wicked Witch of the North gave her the slippers. When she was given the red slippers, she had it in her all along. She could have clicked her heels right there in Munchkin Land and gone back to Harlem. We'll just use the Wiz. She could have clicked her heels, gone back to Harlem, but where's the lesson in that? She never got to grow. She could have ended the relationship and said, I'm disappointed in this person. I don't want to have anything to do with them. I'm going back home. And then to repeat it all over again. That's what happens with a lot of us. We're not willing to grow in relationships, and so they fail. And what happens? We end up back in Kansas, and we're repeating the same thing because we have not learned to grow. We're still a little munchkin, still a little part in you that has not been healed. And so it takes courage, it takes heart, it takes knowledge to be able to get to Emerald City. But it's an illusion. When she gets to Emerald City, it was all an illusion. She started realizing that who she thought she had to get to was really her growth in herself. And think about what a lion does. People who aren't courageous in relationships, who aren't willing to fix things. Here you are, the king, the lion, the king of the jungle, and you're scared. You don't even know you're a lion. You're hiding in the bushes. That's what the lion was doing. He was hiding. He was afraid. He's the biggest, baddest thing, the meanest thing in the land. He didn't know it. How many times are we being told we're not good enough? How many times are you told you are not worthy of love? So many people do not think they're worthy of love. So what do? They sabotage it. Why do they sabotage relationships? Because they're scared. But the wizard welcomes them with love. But he was an illusion. And then they have to go. And what does the wizard say? You got to go kill the other witch. I don't know where she's from, but you got to kill the other witch. And that other witch has the one with the pointed hat. Oh, we can talk about Wicked. Oh my gosh. I should do a thing on Wicked, the more updated version of it, and try to analyze where that comes from because I think that's really interesting. But in Wicked, what was she doing in Wicked? She had the pointed hat in Wicked. That's your pineal gland. That's your pineal gland. And the broom is your spine. Goes, and then we're back to the, what was that word again? Caduceus? I can't say that word. What was it again? We're back to the caduceus. That's what the broom is, the caduceus that goes all the way up to the pineal gland. That's what that movie, that's what Wicked is about. It's about opening up because she was falling and she got the caduceus. Thank you, Jamila. Ca, cadu. Oh Lord, I don't know. She grabbed that. She was going down and she went down. So she went all the way down and then she traveled, she got her broom, the spine, the broom is nothing but the spine, and she went all the way up. And she said, I'm unlimited now. I've opened my pineal gland. I don't want to get into pineal gland stuff because that's a whole nother topic. But I love that song. I mean, it ended beautifully, and you better believe I'm going to be right there when the part two comes out because it was an amazing story that, you're unlimited. You get in touch with your pineal gland, you realize it's an illusion, and you got to make a choice because Glinda chose to go back to Munchkinland, did she not? At the beginning of the film, Glinda did not want to elevate. Glinda said, "Screw that. I'm going to go back. I'm going back to Munchkinland." But hmm, but in Wicked, she's like, "No, no, no. I'm going to I'm bye. You come with me. Come with me and grow and learn." And it's funny because those two ladies, when doing that film, they fell in love with each other. Remember those weird videos that was coming out? They actually fell in love with each other. Like that was real love between the two of them. They were crying on screen because that story is the story of all of us. Ariana Grande and I can't remember the other name, Arrivo or whatever, she and them actually fell in love. I wouldn't be surprised they had an affair, like a physical affair while making that film. They fell in love with each other. In the Emerald City, Cynthia Erivo, thank you. Cynthia Erivo. Cynthia Riva and Ariana Grande fell in love with each other in that film, and it showed in their interviews. They're crying and stuff. They loved each other. That's how powerful this process is. That's how powerful it is. Developing and growing as a person. Both of them grew as an actress and both of them grew as a singer. Like that is some of the perfect singing I think I've ever seen. I love it. Wicked is amazing, but you're unlimited. The makers of the film, they know it. Dorothy was running away from her problems in Kansas, and that dog was guiding her through. Remember, he would pop in and out right at the right moment. That dog was guiding. I'm your dog. I'm the dog. How about that? I'll take it. I'm Anubis. I'm Anubis, right? I'm the therapist as an Anubis, and I'll be guiding. I'm like the guide that will get you through your problems, facing your problems. Dorothy wouldn't have been able to get through that without Toto. Toto was her comfort. The dog was the guide. All right. How's everybody doing? Hey, I love the Wizard of Oz and as a child, I watched it like over and over again. Like I was just like totally as a child I didn't see the Wiz initially, but I saw the Wizard of Oz and I was just blown away by that whole movie. Still to this day, that story is beautiful because it's the story of me and you. It's the story of our necessary development. She says it at the beginning, somewhere over the rainbow. That's over your chakras, somewhere over the rainbow. The rainbow, those colors are your chakra colors. That's how you grow. And that's how you learn that everything you need, you have within you. The wizard ain't giving you nothing. The wizard is the illusion. You have it in you to have a beautiful relationship, perfectly imperfect relationship. But you have to be willing to go down the yellow brick road with with me as your guide. I'm the dog. Ruff, ruff, be the dog, guiding you through. Come on, Scarecrow, you can do it. You have a brain. The Scarecrow was the smartest person in the whole film. Come on, lion. Come on out from under the from in the jungle. Come on, you can do it. Tin Man was like stiff or whatever. Come on, Tin Man. You have the heart to do it. Just gotta slide some oil on it. So, okay. I'm gonna move on. What does it say about this? Um, we can learn from Dorothy that seeing someone's clay feet can teach us even more than sitting at his feet. Disappointment is disillusionment or freedom from illusion, projection, and expectation. All that is left is mindfulness. To someone who disappointed me, I can say, thank you for freeing me from yet another one of my illusions. When Dorothy sees there's no wizard, she learns it is not here to be had. I was certain it was here. I was certain, wait, what I was certain was here is not here. I will have to do it all myself. This is precisely what we all learn at the end of a relationship. Disappointment was what it took for Dorothy to face the given of existence. I alone take full responsibility for myself, others, and three friends and the good witch, earthly and spiritual companions. David Rico knows. Could assist her, but only Dorothy could click her heels together and access her own power. You have the power to choose. Are you going to make this crush you, or are you going to learn from it? Disappointment empowers us when it helps us to learn to locate and trust ourselves while still relating to a partner. It can also disempower us when it leads only to regret about how foolish we were to love our partner, or when it leads us to blame her for failing us. That's what people do. They point the finger all the time. They ain't never the problem. It's always somebody else. Such a sense of betrayal puts us in the role of victim. Regret as a reaction to disappointment further disempowers us. Got to release the regret. Have compassion. If you have compassion for yourself and other people, you won't have so much regret. That's what I'm saying. Regret is a reaction to disappointment. Regret as a reaction to disappointment further disempowers us. If only I had gotten into this to begin with, or if only I had done it differently, maybe he would not have betrayed me. Regret becomes shame, and shame prevents us from experiencing the full career of our disappointment, realizing it, grieving it, growing because of it. That's what you have to do. Full career. Regret becomes shame, and shame prevents us from experiencing the full career of our disappointment. How do you let go of regret? Well, there's steps you can do, but part of it is realize it, name it, grieve it, and grow because of it. As this book has pointed out again and again, growth is required for any human experience to be truly complete. So when we feel disappointment, we need to work on our grief. Ooh. But other people can help us too. If someone understands our disappointment or any other pain we feel, it shows empathy, listening, understanding. It receives and comforts us. Receiving attention and acceptance from such a person is more powerful than gratification. Here is an example of how empathy can help process an interpersonal disappointment. Let me tell you, David Rico is like, y'all don't know empathy, so I got to spell it out for you. David Rico must have been a therapist for a long time. Because sometimes it's so hard for people to get what empathy means. So in case you don't know, on page 183 of the paper version of this book, he is telling you exactly what to say. He's like the chat GPT of what to say when you need to show empathy. Let's see what he writes. That's how he knows some people just don't know how to do it. Yeah, I don't know how to do it. Let me read this. You don't know how to show empathy. Here's what empathy looks like. He says this. I know I disappointed you when I did not stand up for you at the party last night. That's a full sentence. It's not saying I'm sorry. It's saying empathy. I know I disappointed you when I did not stand up for you at the party last night. That is very descriptive. People don't know to talk that way because it hasn't been spoken to them that way. I know I disappointed you when I did not stand up for you at the party last night. It had been bothering me all day. I keep seeing the hurt look on your face. Who was that to say they have the look on their face? Somebody said when I feel hurt, it's all on my face. Who said that? I think was it Lori? I can't remember who said that. But he's saying, I can see it on your face. That's accountability. Thank you. And I feel sorry for not being there for you. We just Three sentences in, then that's the apology. And that's what people don't understand. To show empathy is how you apologize. First, he acknowledged how she felt. I know I disappointed you when I did not stand up for you at the party last night. He was descriptive. And he said, it has been bothering me all day. So I acknowledge how you feel. Here's how I feel. I'm acknowledging. I'm not blame. Well, what's wrong with you? I mean, he could have said, I know I disappointed you for not standing up for you at the party last night. What's wrong with you? How come you got such thin skin? I hear that a lot. You got thin skin. You need to get thick skin. Could have said that, but no. What he's saying is that it has been bothering me all day. This is healthy. I keep seeing the hurt look on your face, and I feel sorry for not being there for you. Now we get to the apology. Can't apologize. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, there's more to do with it than just saying you're sorry. You need to acknowledge the other person's feelings. You need to acknowledge your feelings. You need to be descriptive. I have felt that way. Okay, I feel sorry for not being there for you. I have felt that way in my life with other people, and I know how lonely it feels. I am here for you now and want to make up for it, making amends. That's beautiful empathy. You make amends. I'm sorry, but I'm going to make it up to you. Let's go out to dinner. Let's throw a party together. Let's do what they can to make amends. So, ladies, how should you respond? She says, thank you. That's appreciation. That's definitely some appreciation. Thank you. I feel safe with you because this is a relationship in which my needs and feelings can come out. I see how they are met with attention, acceptance, appreciation, affection, and allowing me to be myself as I am in the moment. Do y'all talk to each other like this? You should. What's stopping you? I trust and I can revive with you my art. Wait, I trust that I can revive with you my archaic needs and wishes without demanding that you fulfill them perfectly. So I am not asking for perfection. I'm not demanding that you feel. Some people hear demands when they're just asking somebody. When you ask somebody a question, inviting somebody, sometimes the person on the receiving end hears it as a demand. But you have to be clear about that. Like, I'm not demanding this, just invitation. And you have to hear that and accept it. I trust I can revive I trust that I can revive with you my archaic needs and wishes without demanding that you fulfill them perfectly. You make it possible for me to try again and to moderate my needs according to what adults can give other adults. I feel such awe and hopefulness that this is possible for me with you, and I offer it to you too. That's what empathy is. Wait, I saw some question. I see some really beautiful quotes, but I do see questions. Where is Emerald City for us as we evolve to socialize, even amongst other Black women? Emerald City is the heart chakra, it's green. And I think it's the gateway. It's the gateway to love. So I don't know. I did a mental health Monday with a lady. She was an actress. She was a famous actress and singer. And we talked about her name is Cinda Williams. And I went to lunch with her. We hung out together. I have a new friend, I think. And she's really, really cool people. And um, again, these are I went to lunch not too long ago with some really cool people, women, Black women, and we were actually talking about the heart chakra in our discussions with each other. And yeah, that's what the Emerald City is. The Emerald City is all about love because remember when as soon as they got to the Emerald City, they were welcomed, right? They were like, come right on in. Hey. They remember I'm thinking about the Wiz, but at the Wiz, he had his little beard, he got his little perm and his little hair. They fixed him right up. The Tin Man got all shiny and stuff. And yeah, so it's beautiful. It's the gateway. It was the gateway to evolving. So they were treated with love upon Emerald City. So that's a signal to you. Um, anyway, so they were just having fun. So anyway, but it is an illusion thinking it's an illusion. Okay, Karen, I don't know. I'm trying to think what you're talking about. It is an illusion thinking it's an illusion. Ooh, trying to think what that means. It is an illusion. Yeah, it's an illusion of thinking it's an illusion, and all that gets shattered quickly. You see that. That's why I was saying y'all got to look at that show, Love is Blind. Talk about blind illusion. And the reality happens and they go back, they leave those little pods. They have no cell phone, no contact with family members, no support system, and they put them in this vulnerable situation in these pods, which I don't know ethically, I don't know. But I guess it's nothing like physically harmful, but emotionally can be very devastating. So they put them in these pods, they don't see each other, they just talk to each other and then they set up these dates with each other. So you get you get to know the person. The idea is to know who the person is and fall in love with the person and not just the illusion of the outside appearance. That's the illusion, right? Okay, anonymous person said, I've had out of body experiences during my prayer time. That's what's up. Woo. Fasting at time and not. That's what's up. Out of body experience is beautiful. Write down what you get. That's beautiful. But either way, praying in the word of God, yes. Meditating on something in particular, when deeply focused, you can become conscious of so much more. You actually can turn that phones off and really they're in the morning, all day long. I'm usually in a meditative state a lot. I just try to I go inside. I take a bath. I do a lot of meditation. So yeah, that's what's up. And I'm real busy right now. This is a busy time of the academic year because we're closing down our academic year soon. So I'm like, not can't meditate as much as I want, but yeah, it's beautiful. I believe that the power of what God says about you when accepted by you cuts negativity. Yes, this is good. So why can't we keep it and move on? We forget. You know what happens? This is a really good question. Why can't we keep it? The cowardly lion steps in and we start to be scared. We don't have courage and we forget. We forget who we are. The lion forgot who he was. We forget who we are. God made us. How can we forget? And so we become cowardly. We're capable of any and everything. I'm certain that's what those meditations do for you. Yes, that's what's up. I love it. Okay, everybody. Hey, so if you want to get your questions answered, like I just answered, be sure to text LOVE, LOVE to 87948. And then you'll get information. We'll send you information. I'll also send you information on healthy relationships. And there's some other little things that I'll put there. And then I'll also let you know when I go live. And then you have a special link. You can join me in the Zoom. This is for everybody in YouTube land. You can join me in the Zoom and then we can you get your questions answered and I can shout you out. Hey, Jen. Hey, everybody. I'm saying hi to people. Okay, so let me continue on. We're almost done. What time is it? 9:42. Oh my gosh. Okay. Woo, let's get going. I want to get through this section. Okay. Yes, this is how you can sound when you do the work. When you do the work. This is how you can sound. This is how you can sound when you do the work. So if you don't sound like this and you get triggered and you start yelling, y'all start calling each other names, you need work done. Insulting each other, you need work done. Get distorted in your thinking, you need work. Okay. This is how you can sound when you do the work. A work that is only complete when it has that spiritual dimension of compassion. Compassion. Okay, so he goes into an illustration. Listen, just in case y'all don't know, he is he is laying out, he has given you an illustration connected to a movie. He's giving you dialogue on what to say. And right now, he's giving you a scenario. So, this is how much David Rico is saying, y'all better get this. You better get this. So, he's moving on to an illustration. Katrina's story exemplifies not only disappointment, but also a way out of it. Katrina was born in Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe. Think about the mentality of people in Eastern Europe. It's Eastern European countries, communists, usually they grow up under communism, and it's not always the best environment to be in. And especially those, or it could be like fascist countries. It can be, I don't know, it could be kind of discouraging. Okay. So, Eastern European country. She's lived in this country for 60 years. She was married to Robert for 45 years and recently stayed by him through his long bout of Alzheimer's. Okay, so she's a dutiful wife taking care of her husband with Alzheimer's. Now at 65, Katrina feels cheated and angry. She mad. She never felt loved by Robert, never felt loved, who had numerous affairs and unilaterally decided to altogether stop having sex with her when she was 40. Damn, when she was 40. So he was not nice to her. He had numerous affairs. He unilaterally decided to altogether stop having sex with her when she was 40 because he said he no longer found her attractive. She realizes now he meant for her only to be the mother of his children and keep the house for him. Yes, Jamila, I'd be ready to kick him to the curb. That ain't nice. Her cultural beliefs, though, her cultural beliefs prepared her for this sort of life in which women were forbidden to go beyond the housekeeper mother model or to expect love and respect, let alone equality. So there's some issues here. Not a happy, and that's the thing, just because you're together for a long time, that don't mean you're happy together for a long time. So I applaud, how happy relationships. Okay. Katrina, where did I go? Thus, Katrina is a grieving widow, but not for her dead husband. She is mourning her own lost life and all that she missed out on over the years. She missed out catering to a man who didn't even value her very much. Okay. She is actually experiencing post-traumatic stress syndrome in the sense that she is finally feeling what she stopped herself from feeling years ago. She wasn't ready to deal with it. She was Dorothy. She was stuck in Kansas, married to this man. She never went past Munchkin Land. I don't even know if she even maybe she fell in love with him or rose in love with him. She didn't leave Kansas. Okay. So she is experiencing stress because she did not grow in this. She's finally feeling that she stopped herself from feeling years ago. She's finally feeling she couldn't deal with it. Now that Robert is gone and she has no specific task, she has nothing to distract her from the reality of her empty and prolonged life. Huh. nothing to distract her because she's used to taking care of everybody. And those people run out, you got to take care of yourself and you got to look inward. So you're going to face it. This is a good example because you either face it now or you face it later, years later. So if you don't do the work now, you're going to have regrets. You're going to stay in a relationship that you had no business staying in, or you're going to be too scared to be in a relationship and you're going to look back on your life and you're going to have regrets. The deal Katrina made in marriage did not include being loved, but only being taken care of by a breadwinner. This is why I have an issue that the only job of a man is to protect and provide. That's it. That's all they have to do. I don't think that's fair to them, and that's not fair to you because you're going to end up like Katrina. Where did that even come from anyway? I don't even understand it. Protect and provide, that's it. Oh, Lord. But she bought into it and now she is regretting it. Her religion, that's right. Sometimes religion can tell you that. Her religion, which supported the arrangement, gave her comfort, but also kept her tied to the model of servitude. Servitude. Now, Katrina has nothing but her memories and feelings, and they frighten her. But if she can feel those feelings, love herself, and forgive her past, she can go on with the rest of her life without bitterness. That's a choice you make. The work of mourning the past makes that possible, since it involves feeling fully and letting go fully too. Perhaps Katrina can then pursue new goals that finally reflect her deepest needs and wishes. She can reinvent herself even at the age of 65. You can reinvent yourself. It's never too late. Rather than simply manage at her old age until she dies. As so many of her friends are doing, Katrina was indeed cheated, but she will still be able to reap the profit if she can invest in herself at last. Finally. Woo, what a lesson. Wasted your life not knowing your worth. The most empowering relationships are those in which each partner lifts the other to a higher possession of their own being. That's a quote from Teilhard de Chardin. I don't know who that person is, but I think what he's trying to say, the most empowering relationships are those in which each partner lifts the other for a higher possession of their own being. That means that you have to support and inspire each other to reach a higher understanding of yourself. And, it's more than just companionship, it's more than just protecting and providing. Be the source of empowerment for each other. Mutual encouragement, all of those things, and living authentically, talking about your feelings authentically and your thoughts. So that fosters trust and respect and a shared purpose, all of those things. Yes, I think that's the type of union you need to have. Have communal have communal agreements among the couple. Yeah, I think a lot of things should be agreed upon with couples. Absolutely. Okay. It's almost the top of the hour. Okay, so we're going to talk about practices next week. I think I'll be on here next week. Let me see what's going on next week. I gotta look here and see what's happening. Yeah, next week. Yeah, I'll be here next week, and we'll talk about practices. So bring your journals and make sure you tune in. I want to thank you guys. Thank you all for being here. Let me see if there are any questions. I don't think there are any more questions. No, the questions are answered. So, anyway, thank you guys for joining me. You can reach out to me at coachingwithdralicia.com. Everybody in YouTube land, you can text love, LOVE, to 87948, and then you can join the private Zoom, and then you get your questions answered, and I'll shout you out. So, thank you, everybody. How to be an adult in relationships. David